maybe we can kick it off here with some intros and let folks know who you are. Obviously, and an OG in the Move space as well. Definitely very prominent in the Twitter universe. But yeah, maybe we can do some quick intros and as we get some of the other folks up here as well.
Yeah, sounds great. I guess a little intro. Currently the co-founder and CEO of STARSPACE, which is an NFT marketplace building on Aptos. Going to, of course, be, I think, eventually supporting games. I know that METAPIXEL is one of the biggest it's going to be building on Aptos, and definitely one of the biggest in all of the Move ecosystem. So happy to support them in any way. I know we've been talking to the team closely, and we'll be helping them out in a number of different ways. And yeah, I'm looking forward to any other games. I know we've met a couple different people here at Denver who, you know, are sort of gaming studios or former gaming heads, and really trying to look for the next blockchain to really build on. And, you know, I've made an effort to tell them a little bit, or as much as possible, of course, about Move and Aptos, and, you know, trying to connect them with Austin and really go from there. So I'm doing my part as much as possible. You know, also talking to a lot of the SUI people, and you know, making sure they're coming over to Aptos. So, you know, having a little fun with it. Joseph, did I lose everyone?
Oh, sorry, I was on mute.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's okay.
awesome.
I was going to say, Joseph, maybe if you want to intro yourself, we're just doing some intros.
Yeah, and I'll just hand it off here to Joseph. So thank you for moderating, and just a really quick shout out to Irvin, who will be joining really soon, and anyone who's building a game or thinking about building a game, even something very simple like hyper casual games, or please check out the Unity SDK recently released, abstracting away a lot of the complexities of building gaming, so you can actually focus on your game without thinking too much about the blockchain aspects. And yeah, if you have any game ideas, definitely reach out to us or any of the panelists here to see how we can help you and yeah, really help the community help bootstrap gaming as a use case for NFTs. So, and with that, I'll pass it off over to you, Joseph, and thank you for moderating this, and excited to hear this one.
Yeah, really thank you for hosting this like wonderful event here. And to like give a short intro of myself, my name is Joseph, business director at METAPIXEL, and like thank you for the Pontem team for organizing this wonderful event. And great to be here as a panel speaker. And as you guys know, the METAPIXEL is a Web3 initiative of MPixel, which is one of the largest game development companies in Korea. And we aim to be the Web3 home for gamers. So currently working hard not only to build and bring quality games, but also to bring mass adoption to Web3 by showing some enhanced user experiences and actual benefits for the gamer with our partner Aptos.
Hey, Joseph, are you able to say as well a little bit about the background of the rest of the METAPIXEL team, and also like where did you guys really come from as well before this?
Oh yeah. Actually, like the MetaPixel, most of the MetaPixel team were like bit like organized with other members from the like gaming industries before. So like myself and Lucas was like doing some like startup before, gaming startup before, and some of the core design or Lumina was working on some like VR and VR spaces, and and some of the members are from the other like blockchain projects as well. So I think like most of the teams were having some of the gaming backgrounds, like the like big gaming companies here in Korea, like Nexons or like the Marvel or like NCSoft and so on. So like we are gathered here as to bring some more like gaming aspects using the blockchain layer. And now like and also we are hiring a lot to like gather more good talented people as well here in Korea, which is like familiar with the move language as well.
Gotcha. Joseph, are you able to speak to Urban? I don't know if you can hear me as well. I can't. I'm having trouble bringing you up. So if I'm not sure, you might have to leave and come back. But
Oh yeah.
Joseph, are you? No, Joseph, you're good. Just Urban. Joseph, I was going to ask you, if someone wanted to apply for METAPIXEL, where would they go if they're in the audience?
You mean the working inside the MetaPixel team?
Correct.
If they are interested in working in the MetaPixel team, we got some like hiring job offers on some of the like career website inside the mpixel.co.kr, and also we will be opening up some more people to like build some like games like Pixelcraft and Ground Cycle Limited and so on. But currently, like as a like a gaming company here in Korea, we are not really used to like like doing some remote job before. So we are looking for some people who can actually work in-house in our office and Pixel office, but we might be opening some more like opening some like jobs for more talented people as a remote job in the future soon. So it depends.
Great. No, sounds great. Urban, I'll throw it over to you now. We're just doing some brief intros if you'd like to intro yourself.
Yeah, hi guys. Thank you very much here to Pontem and Aptos for hosting MoveCon. Myself, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Open DiveHQ. We're an end-to-end gaming studio that focuses on building a lot of the infrastructure related to gaming, as well as some gaming experiences, like one of our games. Most recently, we've become a core contributor to the Unity SDK for Aptos, and so it's very exciting for us.
Perfect. And I know you're mid pizza party as well, so we'll try not to ask you too many questions over in ETH number here. Joseph, I want to throw the first question to you, and hopefully it's not too rough in the background noise for me. I'm in the middle of the hotel lobby. So Joseph, I want to throw this to you. How does Web3 tech improve game design, and how does it really limit it?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting topic. So, in our perspective, like Web3 technology pushes us to bring some openness within the ecosystem in many ways, like connecting all the dots from the current ecosystem and pushing the game's boundaries using the Web3 technology. For example, when we adopt blockchain layer inside the game economy, using NFTs or tokens, the boundary of the actual gaming assets becomes much wider, from being linked to other market liquidity such as like DEX or NFT marketplaces or DeFi platforms. So it both have some like pros and cons, but also these can bring some limitations to maintain the actual gaming economy in more sustainable ways. For example, there may be some limitations on certain item drop logics, or when we distribute some really unique items which can affect the actual power balance inside a game. So since these items may be distributed as NFTs and we can actually distribute them as we want, when we like did before in the Web2 spaces before, and since this was like, and since they work as a core item inside the game economy and balancing, so I think there will be some like two things to be determined inside as a game developer, how to sustain the value of the items and how we could build the actual trust among the gamers. But when we think about the income inequality and unequal distribution of the wealth, it also occurs in the games no matter what it is being built on Web 2 or Web 3. But because of this, game economy specialists are often forced to decide what they consider to be the lesser of two evils. The first one is selling more items to the core players to increase profit, even if it worsens the game imbalance. Or second, like providing more benefits, often at little to no cost to players, to newcomers to increase the total number of the players and expand the game's lifespan. But Web3 gives us the tools to analyze and solve these kind of problems, since Web3 provides on-chain data that is trustable by its own nature, regardless of whether developers and users actually trust it. And moreover, I personally think that by using these technologies, Web3 tech actually have some high potential to provide a fair system that secures ownership and benefits from the core participants and make them participate and contribute in various ways. So the ways of designing game in Web3 will be more different compared to Web2. And I think there might be a lot of things to be considered, but this is my basic idea on this topic.
Joseph, I was also going to ask, I forgot to ask this on your intro. When can we expect I know you guys have given a couple early looks, but when can we expect an initial game or some sort of initial beta from METAPIXEL as well? Any timelines?
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, like we are currently like we just announced our like first community test like coming up in like late March. So it will be starting from like March 24th to 27th with a really limited number of testing, because since it's a really like initial test of the Crown Cycle Limited, so we might be limiting some like numbers to see how this like basic gameplay works. And like unfortunately this will be not containing some like blockchain features yet, but after this like first testing, then we might be integrating the blockchain features and deploying the testnet soon in around like in the second quarter. And we hope to release the Crown Cycle Limited on like late Q3 this year, and the Pixel Craft will be following on the late and the end of this year. But we will be also keep conducting some several playtests during this like during our journey. So it won't be that
Perfect.
far.
Awesome. No, I appreciate that. Irvin, before I go over to you for that same question, and I'll repeat it, give, of course, give Pontem a follow, give Joseph, give, of course, METAPIXEL in Joseph's bio, give Irvin and the rest of the speakers up here, of course, a follow. Keep this great MoveCon going. I'm looking forward to MoveCon eventually in person. I'm sure that's happening at some point, maybe this year or in the following years, with Aptos, of course. Irvin, I want to go to you now, though, with the first question that we asked Joseph. How does Web3 really tech improve the game design? How does it limit it?
You know, I would say it's really a complex question to answer, right? Like, how does it actually improve game design and development? You know, like our take on this is that you have to really look at what game design and game development is. And really, a lot of folks within the Web3 industry, they think that game design or game development is a very engineering focused job, right? And the fact of the matter that, you know, game design development is a creative job. It's artistic, right? When you're designing a game, when you're designing an experience, you're an artist. You're crafting that experience for the player, deciding what happens when they perform a given action and so forth, right? And anticipating some of these actions, of course. I'm not considering emerging gaming, but and so what happens is when we add blockchain tech and cryptocurrency / tokens to game design development is we turn this closed loop system, right, where the designer kind of crafts the experience, and we turn it into an open loop system. And this is what you see when, for example, we allow, let's say, the economy to be driven by these cryptocurrency tokens, right, that are no longer just utilized within the gameplay, right, and the closed loop system, but rather outside for, let's say, for farming or within a DEX and so forth. And so to me, really, it's a very complex question because, like, from that standpoint, I think that using, you know, blockchain at its current point and using the standards for NFTs within gaming kind of creates an Aptos experience for game design and development because you lose control of these things. But on the other hand, you know, from an engineering perspective or from a creative perspective, it kind of gives you opportunities to innovate, right? For example, could you design some contracts or perhaps lock in the user after they earn a given reward or a loot? And what does that look like? And then you have to think of ways to, for example, like prevent, you know, people who hold the token that are not players of the game to not use it. And so to me, that's interesting as an engineer, but from a creative standpoint, as a game designer, it kind of makes things a bit worse. Now, from the player perspective, of course, there's this notion of actually ownership, provenance, and traceability, right, of game assets that I really like. I used to be, you know, a RuneScape player, very heavy RuneScape player. I used to play CSGO and so forth. And we've seen what happens when, you know, game developers do buffs and debuffs of given assets, right? Or when, for example, a particular skin is changed or updated. And you as a player want to have perhaps a say in that, right? Because you might have spent a whole number of hours grinding, meeting up with your friends, or perhaps mastering that skill or mastering that weapon, right? And then all of a sudden the game designers and game developers decide to change this. But on the other hand, I go back to the designer part. Perhaps, you know, as a game developer and designer that kind of crafted the experience that stops and say, hey, look, you know, we need this debuff because it's affecting so-and-so class of players, or it's affecting so-and-so the experience by given metric. So that's really my thoughts of it. It's really an open-ended, answer, but just sharing my comments on that question.
Great. I wanted to see if anyone else up here, I know some of the other speakers up here aren't planned to be, sort of touching on this topic, but maybe Shamrock, Cernak, and Steve, if you guys have any thoughts or maybe questions for Urban or Joseph. If not, we can move on to another question. So if any of you guys are...
They have short one gamer question. EVP
Oh, your mic,
or PvP?
Shamrock, your mic is pretty rough.
I think Twitter is ragging me.
Yeah. Leave and come back. I'll bring you back up.
Okay.
All right. With that, then, Joseph, I'm gonna throw you the next question here. Gamers and game developers have often had an adversarial relationship. How can Web3 bring publishers and players together?
Yeah, I think the major reason why the players had adversarial relationship between the developers was because it was basically hard to form a trust relationship between these two. For example, even though the game developers kept doing their updates on a regular basis, there were some points where the players were uncomfortable regarding the result, and these steps sometimes led to some big conflict in between. And suddenly, gamers happen to feel they can trust what the developer says, since the most key data remains inside a black box. So, anyway, our team thinks that there may be some ways to make these two more aligned and trust each other using the blockchain technology. So, first thing might be building trust. So, as we've announced a basic theoretical concept of proof of play before, which is used to build trust using the on-chain data with the key information of how the in-game economy is being formed. For example, like every single player's goal on the gameplay is to be entertained inside a game and get a reasonable result on time/money spent inside a game by getting the end game gear or the wish item they want to achieve inside a game. Like really cool unique gear or so. But basically this information, like what was the exact trials and getting these results of getting these were pretty much inside a black box, which only developers can access. So some player might feel really weird when they doesn't get the expected result, even though they had a bunch of trials within the game itself. So to enhance this experience, we are trying to use our proof of play algorithm, like using the hash dice as a random generator. So the input values may be something related to the gameplay metrics, and they will be getting the result from this hash dice. And let's mention the information is verified in the POP system and recorded in ledger. Then the player may be having access to actual on-chain data regarding these by using the GSU Explorer, for example. And all this data can be used in forming some game analytics, and data of how the actual in-game economy based on NFTs being formed will be shown crystal clear as on-chain data on Aptos. So not only the game itself, we think that these may be opening up some another expansion in the game business derived from the games, and which is the actual benefit of using the blockchain technology. So we are trying to make different trials to use the actual blockchain tech to benefit the gamer experience, and we'll keep delivering these ideas and concepts toward our community. And I think another thing is the way of incentivizing. So after this technology came out, game developers have shown their interest in this technology because it could be used to form a different type of business model in the gaming sector. And using the NFT features, we are able to bring the previous gray market inside a game where the gamers have been trading their game items and accounts. So we could actually give the proof of ownership using this technology and make this model integrated inside a game itself. So in terms of incentivizing the core community, we could also use our marketing related budget to incentivize the core players who actually support the user acquisition or enhance the community retention in various ways. And I personally think that there may be more innovative and various ways to get the game developer and gaming community aligned together, since we are at the very early stage of the blockchain era. So there will be more innovative ways coming out in terms of these ideas. So I'm really excited to be a part of the game developer side who opens up the new era of gaming.
I think also to this point, Joseph, as well, like, I think you take a look at if you're an end user and you want to get involved in sort of a certain community of the game, where else is it more accessible than to do Web3, right? You can now, with Web3, and this isn't just for games too. This is for DeFi protocols that are, maybe over $1 billion in CDL, et cetera, et cetera. You can go into their Discord. You can message the founder on Twitter, and they're incredibly accessible, right? Whereas, try and go talk to a Fortune 500 CEOs, a CEO in some sort of Discord that they have, or like on Twitter, they're probably not going to answer you, right? Or try and email them, they're probably not going to answer you. So really, I think like these companies, these teams are more accessible than ever, and that's how I think the relationship can be so much different as well. There's much more personality, right? There's much more personability when you're sort of dealing with these different games, is you can directly reach out pretty easily.
Yeah. Anyway, I agree with the point what like Chadley told me before, but I think it's not really related to the like if it is like Web2 or Web3 because like anyway the like previous like gaming market or like the like 400 to 500 people are really hard to connect and like deliver some information to them. But like I feel like more and more the like gaming economy is also like forming their like base community using some like Discord or Twitter or like maybe with just like some tools with having some openness and accessibility to the actual core team. So I think the way of like connecting these kind of people might be really helpful, like regardless of like if they are using the Web2 or Web2 technology or Web3 technology. So I think the community is like moving like forward this way and in terms of like using the like blockchain technology, we can actually like see what the actual the like gamers inside the community are, what were their like current status on this like community look like, and we can like check their like some of the like gameplay data, which if they are written on chain. So I think there might be some like collaboration between these kind of tools and Web3 technology to enhance the like actual like communication between the gamers and the game team.
Yeah, 100%. Irvan, I want to throw this question over to you as well. How, I guess typically, of course, in the past, gamers and game developers or game publishers have had a bit of an adversarial relationship, though. How can Web3 really bring publishers and players together?
Sure. I think this is an amazing question. And like the way that we think about this is twofold. And the first part relates really to the value chain within gaming and also sometimes the distribution of wealth, which, these things really apply to every industry that blockchain tech is disrupting. Like when you look at the music industry, right, people are trying to disrupt this value chain, like who benefits, for example, from the creation of music and so forth. And, the second part really, what we see is that it relates to the communication and feedback loop between the gamers and the game developers. And so on the first part, right, we have to ask ourselves the question is, what agents benefit from the sales and success of a game, right? And oftentimes, for example, it is the gamers in the community that provide that value, particularly within esports, for example. Like if you look at the world of esports, a lot of these games, like League of Legends and so forth, are successful because people became in love with the game and passionate about playing. And oftentimes they don't receive support from the game publishers themselves. And on the second part, which is related to that feedback loop or communication loop between gamers and game developers, you can look at what happened if you guys are familiar with RuneScape, right? You can look at what happened on the Faldor riots, back in 2007, right? There was like a riot that happened in the aftermath of like an update to the bounty hunter feature, and so these are things that is kind of still presently missing between the interaction of publishers and game developers. And in terms of like, disrupting the value chain, we're really seeing that happen with Play to Earn and so forth, and new updates to that model where we can essentially give value back to the players or the community that essentially help this game succeed and be well known. And as you mentioned, Chad, and as Joseph mentioned, right, the other part is really that in traditional gaming, which is also kind of changing, right? If you message the creator or the publisher, like an email or even like tag them, it's very, very, very unlikely that they'll reply to you, right? Even if you give them feedback. But within a Web3 ecosystem, if you tag the creators of a particular protocol, right, or you give them feedback, they will respond to you, right? And so this is a very different from what we see in Web2. But I will really say that, recently I've seen a lot of game publishers kind of create open betas that people go in their Discord and they get to try it out and get feedback and so forth. So this is my feedback really on why I think there's been that adversarial relationship and how Web3 is changing things for gaming.
Amazing answer, Irvin. Appreciate that. I wanted to see Shamrock if you. Oh, looks like Steve. You have your hand up. Do you have a question, comment for this latest topic?
Yeah, I just have a quick question to the game developers. Like, as a game developer, how can you leverage Web2 or Web3 to create like a more engaging and rewarding experiences for players, and how can they measure the success of their games in terms of player engagement and retention?
Joseph, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, but I didn't really clearly get the question, but are you meaning that like how can we like measure our success in Web3?
Yes, like, yeah, I said, how can you measure the success of your games in terms of player engagement and retention?
I think like it might be not really that different compared to like currently Web2 gaming business and Web3 game business, because like even though we are using some of the like blockchain features inside our game, but anyway the like basic metrics how we can like define the actual success of the market is like maybe will be some like user bases like daily active users and some of the retention made by the users and some revenue by the games and how is the actual like paying user rate is becoming, and for the like the things integrated as a like blockchain feature like some of the gears or like items created as an NFT, then we might be also checking some like some of the like data of the transactions made by with these kind of like gaming items as well. So I think like for this question, like the basic concept of defining how the game is successful, like in like Web3 might be not really that different compared to the Web2, but there might be some added like metric that we need to check in terms of like checking some of the on-chain transaction data and so on.
Yeah, I think Joseph. I think that it's probably not different, right? In the sense of from Web2, I think to see if a game is successful or not, probably best to just check out how many users that game is maybe on a weekly, monthly basis. I think also what's going to be interesting, right, is with many games coming out across a number of different ecosystems over the next probably 3 to 5 years, is maybe there isn't a ton of users of the game, but people are trading the assets more than they're playing the game, which is going to be really interesting, right? So I think it's actually, Steve, it's actually a good question because maybe there will be metrics where more people will be looking at how many people are trading the assets compared to actually how many people are playing them. But I assume that the majority of the time, the amount of players to well, it could be the opposite. I'm not sure. It could be the amount of traders of the assets could be potentially more than the actual players. Maybe there's just more speculators than there is, real players. Go ahead, Joseph. Maybe a follow-up response.
Oh yeah, I think like another thing I want to mention regarding this question is actually like when the like market changed to like from the PC to mobile before, like the like most of the like free to play games like or keep like building some like games based on some of the random boxes or gacha system to like, and it was really helpful for the game developer side to actually get the like instance like rewards or instant like money from the like actual like game as a revenue side, but like the basic concept of this kind of like business model was like keep selling the inflation by the gaming company. So like they need to like we need to like update some more like the stronger gears and new characters and so on. So actually these kind of actions were pretty much like cutting off the like player's life cycle of one single game and turning back into the revenue side. So that's the reason why the gaming developer had to like bring their like sequels in more faster ways. But I think like the using the blockchain technology and going back to the new kind of business model using this kind of like second-hand sales fees or making some like NFT based like business model can be a really new trial to form a new type of business model. So as a developer perspective, we actually want to check how this kind of like this new business model will be working when we launch our like game on Q3. So that might be another interesting point to look at.
Right. Steve, Steve, do you have a follow-up point? And then maybe I'll go over to Irvin.
Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to add that for games built on Web3, you get if like there's a market condition, like if we're in a bear market or in a bullish market or any type of market condition, how does it like affect the game and affect the productivity, affects how the users interact with the game and all? How does it just generally affect the game?
This may be the follow-up for me, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, sorry, Irvin. So I think I personally think that like web transition between like Web 2 and Web 3 will not really happen in a sudden. So there might be some like middle ground to like form some kind of like business model or in-game like gaming balances between like Web 2 games and Web 3 games. For example, like we cannot really put everything fully on chain to and like make the people only use the like token asset because when we like do that, this kind of like payment system will be not really stable, and user might be like not willing to like spend their like current like payment not only for the like friction side but also with the like these kind of like fluctuation side. So to like find some middle ground, I think like maybe like combining some of the like picking some kind of like game item value into some kind of like stable coin might be like help to sustain some kind of like game item like actual price so that user might be not really worried about this kind of market fluctuation. So these are like really rough concept that I just like popped up in my mind, but there will be some like more ways to like actually like separate some like in-game balances regardless of the current market situation and the conditions.
Definitely. Irvin, go ahead.
Yeah, Chad, like in regards to the first part of the question, if we look at really traditional KPIs for games and we apply them to, I would say, last cycles, Web3 games, they would all be down bad, right? Because in traditional gaming, just thinking off the top of my head, there's some KPIs like number of downloads, installs, user growth, user revenue, average session length is a huge, right? Can you imagine if we judged a lot of the success of these games by saying what is the average session length? Probably something like DeFi Kingdoms or any other the yield farming games would be down bad because a lot of people would just go in there, farm for like 3 seconds or 30 seconds and leave, and things like playtime and session intervals. So we need to actually apply this to the new age of Web3 games. But if we looked at the last cycle's games, they will all be down bad, right? But on the follow-up point and really targeting on this is that, perhaps if we make, or if we don't make, the economy close, meaning that actually the token can be used to transact outside of the game, then one metric to really look into perhaps is velocity of money, right? And velocity of money is a measurement of the rate at which money is exchanged between hands or between economy. And so you could imagine judging a game by by how the players interact within the economy. Are they actually taking the money or the tokens outside of the game? Are they doing swaps? Are they doing staking in different platforms? And I think we could also apply velocity of money to NFTs, right? How often are the players trading these NFTs, and on which platforms? Are they actually DEXs outside of the game and so forth? But these are some things, that we've been thinking about really, because ideally we do need to apply some of the KPIs that we looked at, for example, existing tokens like velocity of money, and apply them to games.
Gotcha. I hear obviously the pizza party friends having a blast in the background. Shamrock, go ahead, brother.
Yo, my mic is good now?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Perfect.
Oh yeah, finally. So as a gamer with like 25 years of experience, I'm so curious to listen to you all here. And since there is a topic like Web2 against like Web3, I'm very curious about the one thing. Like imagine like a gamer, for example, like me. He is 35 years old and he got used to all the like old school gaming. And here is Web3 gaming with all those, tokens, NFTs, and such. And these boomers don't really want to dig deep into this stuff, and back in days, we always had like this like free-to-play system or something like that. Yeah, for people who don't actually want to pay for the game, like a monthly, payment, and want to play like for free. How we can make some system for like people for this boomer model. I mean, if he wants to taste your game, like Web3 game, but don't want actually to dig deep into NFTs, maybe there is possible to make, this off-chain onboarding on something like that.
I think I got this one. Yeah, I think that might be a really important point to actually bring the mass adoption in Web3, because everybody knows that there are like billions of daily active gamers in the Web3 spaces, but as you mentioned, like billions of gamers are still remaining in the Web2 area and looking for some like good points. Well, the actual good points on the Web3 technology and Web3 games are trying to deliver. So in like my perspective, I think we can try to like form some ways of the user experiences by like removing some kind of like current like friction is in Web3 games. Because for example, like when we think about just like jumping into the MMORPG, then we might be not really needing the like wallets or other like blockchain related stuff in the very beginning of the game, because they doesn't really have any kind of like assets related to like game itself, even it's like off-chain like assets or the on-chain assets. So they might be like starting to like play the game first, and maybe like getting some of the like gaming gears or like gaming items. And if they are like able to like get some of the like NFT access, then we can we can maybe guide them to like, hey, this is the unit, if this is the like actual like the asset you have been created inside the gameplay, and if you want to like get the ownership of this kind of item, you can like create a wallet by using some of the gaming narratives. And maybe in that sense, then they might be having some like actual items in their inventory, or like inside the game, then they will be having some like willingness to like actually create the wallet or like learn something more about the blockchain technology. I like personally agree that like there are some like really high bars for the current gamers to like jump into the Web3, because they don't have any idea of what the wallet is, what the mnemonic is, and so on and so forth. So like including like our team, including myself, is trying hard to like form this kind of like user experiences to like actually like bring more Web2 gamers into the experience the Web3 technology, and maybe like having some of the like removing some of the like frictions related to the like gas repayment and so on.
Yeah. Also, if I can do some follow up, one more thing actually, which I think is really ridiculous. Like even in Web2 gaming, we have all those skins. Like for example, for Counter-Strike Global Offensive and such games, and this is kind of similar to NFTs. And the most ridiculous part is how you really think it's possible to explain those players that NFTs are actually kind of sort of better than those actually skins they buy from the marketplaces, because they actually will have the ownership of this non-fungible token. So there is the tricky part actually, how you think it's possible to explain them, even since it's obvious for us.
I don't think so. I mean, like, you got to look at the percentage of players that care about ownership, right? Care, right? They just want to have fun. They want to play something. They want to be with the community, play with their friends. That's the thing, right? And when you bring nomenclature like wallets into the play and gas and fees, that's a big turnoff, right? Like, I can't imagine like playing Counter-Strike right now and saying, "Oh, you're gonna play here's a Counter-Strike clone, but guess what? You can own this skin and you can sell it." Like, I don't need to sell the asset to make money, right? So that's a very tricky question that really, like the old or the last generation's Web3 gaming, their thesis was that all gamers care about making money, right, and selling the assets. And the reality is, it's really a small percentage of them that actually do care, right? And you look at RuneScape, there's a small percentage of people that were doing, gray market trading, or OTC trading, but it wasn't like a large percentage of RuneScape players.
Yeah, great answer. Thanks a lot.
Alrighty, Joseph. I want to head to get to the next question now. How does Web3 gaming strengthen fan communities?
Yeah, I think this is pretty much like the related topic that we have been discussing so far. So, for the answer, I think with the emergence of the blockchain technology, the ways of forming a fan community became way different. So, we see a lot of communities coming out for the Web3 game projects even before they launch something. So, now the people want to be a part of the early supporters for each project and have a glimpse of perks faster than anyone else. And these communities get bigger and bigger with the proper roadmap and hype created inside the community. I think Web3 tech enable various ways to strengthen this fan community during this journey. Some people issues out the NFT for the community or making some airdrop to the core participant or so. But I personally think that these actions really should be really careful if they are trying to have some openness within the community. Because the actual game needs constant inflow of the new players, so we should use the Web3 aspect carefully in ways to connect the other dots in the ecosystem by not limiting it to a really small groups, since the community needs to keep expanding and bring more people inside the fan community. And the other thing we can also think about is we can also imagine using something like a soulbound tokens as a proof of player. So with these Web3 features like gamers in-game achievements or community engagement actions inside the community / ecosystem can be recorded on chain using this kind of SBT concept. And with this kind of trackable data, we could incentivize the actual fan community in various ways and to strengthen the actual engagement of the forum's fan community. And moreover, there might be some possibilities to delegate some more things to these kind of core contributors, or create some regular and sustainable incentivizing methods based on the project's revenue side, using all these kind of trackable data made through the community and the games.
100%. Trying to see. Sorry about that. I got a little issue with my audio, but I think I know this is a related question, so I think maybe we'll move on to something that isn't sort of related as much. Joseph, I think this goes over to you first, and I'd love to hear Irvin's take on this as well. But what are some of your favorite Web3 games that you're playing right now, if any?
I think it's really a tough question. So, like for the Web3 games, I can't actually point out one or two games at the moment, but I'm pretty bullish on all Web3 games with a high quality trying to come up this year. Because since we have been experienced the Web3 games so far, starting from like CryptoKitties or like Axie Infinities, like anyway, the like ways of the Web3 games, how they are getting improved on the market is like really like impressive. And like now we are like facing some really high quality game which we could like see on the like previous gaming market, and now they are turning some of these systems like and implementing some Web3 features. So I'm super excited to see these kind of like games like coming out in the future. And also I'm like currently speaking on behalf of the METAPIXEL, so I truly believe that the GSU and upcoming games on METAPIXEL will be all of the like favorite games for many gamers in the scene. So like not only adopting the tokens or NFTs, we are also pushing ourselves hard to actually get some benefit from the technology itself. And with the openness and flexibility that Move languages have, we'll be opening up the new paradigm of Web3 gaming and expanding the Web3 like boundaries of the actual game, and hope to see this like really fast.
100%. Urban, any games that any Web3 games you're currently playing right now?
In reality, I am not playing many Web3 games. I played quite a lot of them. You know, before what I'm actually doing right now, and I'll be writing a thread pretty soon, is I've been analyzing, you know, Valorant, CS:GO, Call of Duty, a lot of these like first-person shooters, and writing some threads on it to discuss the differentiation between the way that weapons are used and the community, right? Because in particular for us as a gaming studio, one of the games that we're doing is a cross IP first-person shooter, and what I mean by cross IP really is cross NFT, meaning that you can use your NFTs as your avatar, right? And so from a game design perspective, you got to think about things like hitboxes, right? Or the bounding boxes around the character. And as you can see in the quote unquote metaverse, or the NFT metaverse, you know, these characters are different sizes, different shapes. You know, some of them are large apes, tiny foxes, or, you know, humanoid characters like the Mavericks and so forth, or sorry. and so I see someone here with a beam. And so that's something that we want to study, right? Because if you look at, for example, Fortnite, I think I'm going to deep into that. You know, people think that Fortnite, when you wear the banana suit, the hitbox, it's around the entire banana suit. But in reality, no, they're using a humanoid hitbox and so forth. And I would say that Web3 games don't think about this kind of stuff, right? I think for the most part, and this is a candid take outside of this, that a lot of new game developers or game studios and game VCs, Web3 VCs, you know, didn't account for what it takes really to build a great experience. You know, it's not just about dumping unreal assets, you know, realistic looking assets, and, you know, showing some NFT collection. It's more than that. But I would say that there are some up and coming games, particular that are mobile focused that I've been looking into, and these are be hyper casual games, you know, like some runners and so forth. Because our other thesis is that I think something that we will see pick up within the Web3 gaming space, just given the notion of like the demographic, is hyper casual games, right? Where you can do things like small wagering and stuff like that, or skill based competitions that are short lived. We call them, well, I think everybody calls them like poop and play games, right? You can play them while you're in the bathroom. I think those are the kind of games I've been looking really into.
Yeah, and I agree, Ruben. I think that like so many people underestimate, I think, how hard it is to build a game, and then how hard it is to build a great game, right? There's sort of a big difference between those two. And I think that you know, you touching on that, right? Game developers, to game VCs, to anyone else in the, you know, maybe retail or outside communities, don't understand really what it takes to build a game, and then really again a great game, right? They're two sort of different things, and they're incredibly difficult to do. There's so many different things you need to think about, right? A great story, great characters, developing those characters, right? What they look like, because you didn't mind what the lore wherever you want to go. How are you onboarding new users? What does all that stuff look like is incredibly difficult. And so I can't agree with you more, Irvin, to that point. Shamrock, I think I saw your hand up. Are you okay? Do you have any question or no?
No, it's Steve had a hand up. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Steve, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I have a little question on the community, like the gaming community. You know that like in the NFT community, most founders, developers, they come together to look for like tools and to look for things that are not yet in the community, are not yet in the ecosystem, and they try to build on it. Like they collaborate with each other. So I just wanted to know if the gaming community also do collabs with other gaming communities and other projects, and how they go about doing these collabs, and if not, like why are they not collaborating with each other? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take this one. As a game gaming game developer perspective, like I personally think that like how the Web3 ecosystem is being formed is like based on like so many like like community based on like other like projects like DeFi's or other like related ecosystem partners, and also there are like tons of like players who are like inside the actual NFT community. So as a game company, I think this is a new way to actually bring more gamers interested in our game by doing some kind of like collaborations. But uh, in terms of the like collaboration within the NFT communities and games, I think it's not really something like some like kind of like sharing some like well list or other like perks in between. So I think there should be like more tightened relationship in between the NFT communities and the game itself. So uh, like maybe if we imagine something like if we could like use the actual NFT like PFP NFTs as a gaming character inside some like kind of like pixel craft, for example, then it might be more interesting to like actually see the like visualize Aptos ecosystem inside the gaming world. And these will be like more interesting collabs that we are looking for to have something like to like form with the other communities as well. And also we can think about like maybe integrating some kind of like some like some narratives inside the NFT community they have inside their community and build some kind of like like for example like dungeons or monsters inside a game. That might be also an interesting point, but like bringing these might be really taking some time to actually like develop something and put it inside the game and check all the balances here. So I think there might be some ways to have really strong like collaboration in between the NFT like communities and the like gaming partners as well. But we are definitely looking forward to have this kind of conversation with other like folks in the Aptos ecosystem and try to figure out how we can like form the long-term partnership to enhance the both community that we have.
Appreciate that, Joseph. All right, we're now a little over 50 minutes on this space. I want to maybe ask one more question, Alejo. Of course, you're on the Pontem account. I want to ask one more question, then we'll really close this space out. Before I get to my last question, make sure to give, of course, Pontem a follow. We're putting on MoveCon throughout the day. Give Irvin and Joseph, of course, a follow for this panel that we've just done, or a little over, a little under an hour. Give all these great speakers up here a follow, and really appreciate, of course, all the listeners that have been here throughout this whole day, and of course, the remainder of this panel. So maybe I'll throw it over to you, Irvin. What are the barriers or difficulties for Web2 gaming companies wishing to expand to Web2 or Web3? I'm sorry.
Business model and revenue, right? I think Justin would agree on those 2 points. It's like, why would you change something that already makes money for you? It's a risk. And also targeting a new demographic, like gaming. Like, so I used to used to work with Ubisoft and like the Bourbon team worked at NetEase, right? Like when you build a game or you're going to build a product in general, right? You're going to look at the data and you got to build with what would actually give you most value, and you got to build for the users and so forth, right? And so for when I used to work with some of these gaming studios, their take is like, why would we target this new demographic that is relatively small? And how do we generate revenue, right? How can we create an engaging experience? Or how can we add value by using blockchain technology to our existing users, right? That's like still an open-ended question. I think it's, ownership provenance, or even what I like to call disrupting labor structures. It's great. And what I mean by that is that perhaps giving the opportunity for someone who likes game or a gamer or a esports player ability to make money, it's great and all, but how does that fit into the existing business models or revenue models for games, right? And gaming studios.
Gotcha. Joseph, thoughts on this question as well?
Yeah, I totally agree with the Arvin said before, and I wanted to add some more things on our end. So I think like so many people will be having some like a lot of things to say regarding this topic, but like on our like perspective, like most concern will be the like market size of the current like Web3 like game industry and the ways of the expansion. So like compared to Web3, like the current Web3 like ecosystem is like getting like getting improved and getting like bigger and bigger, but still they have more ways to go. So that's the reason why Web3 startups and projects are really holding each other's hand tight to boost the actual market and bring some mass adoption here. But to be frank, like we've got some more things to go to bring the adoption here to Web3. We know that there are billions of gamers in the market, but most of them have no actual knowledge about the Web3 or the tech itself because they are just gamers. So I think that's why most of the teams are focusing on the various ways of seamless onboarding to deliver like the fun narrative first and showing the Web3 aspects when needed. It's not only some approaches as an UX perspective, but there should be more improvement on the current status of the market. Like there are some limitations on the storefronts and marketing tools and the ways to hook the actual Web2 native players into the game. So to bring more big players or like big companies into Web3, there should be like strong conviction to bring the masses here into the Web3 using the product and the related experience design. And also the another thing is like there are some more difficulties in current like legal and regulation status. So to operate the legit business as a big gaming company, there are just a few countries supporting the like clear regulation related to the Web3. So that might be another problem to participants to jump into the Web3 because it is more important when the scale of the business is bigger, and that's the reason why like current like big companies can't really like all into the Web3 because of this kind of like gray area, which is derived from the like regulation and like the legal like like status. And like these are also the steps that we have been working on for more than a year, but it is still tough. But we think it's worth challenging because like it won't be a blast transition from Web2 to Web3, but gladly we are looking into the new like various new use cases and more trials to push this boundary for many projects in like current like Web3 area. And I personally think that one single great use cases can dramatically open up the adoption of Web3 and hope we could take a part of that mass adoption with Aptos and other partners here.
Appreciate the thorough answer, Joseph. Before we close up this space, Irvin, I wanted to throw it over to you to do maybe a one last liner so you can plug some of the stuff, of course, you're working on to close up this space, and then Joseph, I'll go over to you.
Yeah, fantastic. And before I drop some notes on that, I want to thank Pontem, you, Chatley, for hosting the space, and everyone on stage, Joseph, you, Shamrock, Steve, and the guys over at Uncertainty, so the Aptos lunch IO. And so from our end, really, I think I want to say that if there's any Unity game developers on stage that are looking to break into Web3 or are building already some Web3 games using Unity, definitely check out the Aptos Unity SDK. It's already open source. We're keep on building it and maintaining it, and we're gonna add new features that not only allow you to communicate with the Aptos blockchain, but also that abstract that layer that is required, right? Because you as a game developer, you don't want to deal with the nuisance of managing new wallets or understanding what's happening behind the scenes. And of course, definitely, if you're on the GitHub as an end and you have some notes or feedback, there's also a developer channel on the Aptos Discord that you can drop some comments or feedback and as contributors, so that we'll try to hop in and also assist you along the way. And we have also some tutorials coming up. So that's on the Aptos side. From our end, definitely drop me a note if you're building games. We do have one game that we're building, which is a cross IP game called Mayhem League, that I would love for you guys to beta test and try out. And also, we're interested in building infrastructure and tools that make your lives better as game developers and as players. So those are a few things that I want to drop in. And of course, if you're at ETH Denver, we're doing a little event here, Pizza DAO, a few Aptos family members are already here, so come on by. But thank you guys.
Absolutely. Now over to you, Joseph.
Yeah. Anyway, it was really exciting to have this conversation with great people like Charlie and Irvin and Shamrock and Steve and so on. And really thank you for all the participants to here to listen to all the stuff, and really appreciate the content team and to organize this wonderful event here as a MoveCon. And yeah, as a in terms of the MetaPixel, we are pushing ourselves hard to bring the actual games to the gamers using the Web3 technology, and really our first community test is around the corner, and we can't wait to see some of the players feedbacks among these kind of games and basic game concept and design, and hope we can bring more things really soon, and also show you guys all with the how we integrated the blockchain feature. And as Irvin mentioned before, now the infrastructures are really getting better and better, and now we see the Aptos Unity SDK, and this will be also helping us other Unity related game developers to enhance their development experiences, and with these kind of systems and infrastructures, I personally can't wait to see all the new games coming up in this scene, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And really thank you for having me and the MetaPixel team here to speak something to the public.
Of course. Again, appreciate everyone for coming today. Give these great speakers a follow. Give Pontem a follow. Shamrock and the rest, Irvin and Joseph. Appreciate everything that I think Pontem's done so far for the Aptos ecosystem, for Move ecosystems in general. I think this is a huge sort of step in the right direction. I'm hoping that one day, of course, MoveCon will be in person. I'm sure that'll eventually happen. We got to start somewhere, though. I think that this was a great first step. Just be as simple as possible on Spaces or just virtual, and then really go from there. So I assume that will eventually happen. I think Move can really has the potential to become much larger than anything Solidity or Rust based. And I'm looking forward to just the future of Aptos, of Move in general. Appreciate again everyone coming today. Give all these great speakers a follow, and maybe Lejo, I'll throw it over to you if you want to update on anyone on sort of the remaining session. I think that's happening in an hour, and go from there.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Chadley. Thank you, Irvin, Joseph, Shamrock, everyone, Steve, everyone who's been on here with us since this morning. Just looked at the time. It's been about 6 hours total marathon on this. So awesome to be running this. Yeah, definitely looking forward to having a full-blown Move event in person to rival, ETH Denver in the future. For now, if you are in ETH Denver, we'll be having 2 sessions in person tomorrow at the Aptos Hacker House on MoveCon.live. On the registration button, make sure you register to the Luma event so you don't have any issues getting in. But again, if you do run into issues, let us know. We'll get you in there. But yeah, thank you all to all the speakers. Really excited to see Web3 gaming come to life on Aptos, and yeah, really looking forward to see what comes out of it in the next few months, the next year. Really excited to play METAPIXEL every day. I was a huge RuneScape fan. I think Irvin threw that out there. I don't know if anybody knows, but there was an issue or a bug with I don't know if it was a party hats or one of the holiday items where essentially there was like an infinite mint and it just completely crashed the market of whatever that was. So yeah, that definitely can happen with crypto, and it's a big step forward to have this type of infrastructure now to be able to have in-game items and other great use cases. So thank you everyone, and we're gonna take a break now for about an hour, and we'll be back. This will be a test to see whether through breaks this audience can hold. I'll be trying to play some music from the microphone. Hopefully not too bad, but thank you.